Stories within stories, you know. That's what gets me about this one. Conrad's Heart of Darkness. It's like, picture this. You're on a boat, just drifting down the Thames.
Peaceful.
Exactly. But instead of sipping wine, you're listening to this sailor, Marlowe, tell this intense story about the Congo. No brochure would ever cover this trip.
Conrad really throws us right into it, doesn't he? The whole thing is set during the peak of European colonialism in Africa. And the Congo River, it's more than just a setting, you know? It's like this heavy symbol full of ambition, dread, this almost desperate need to uncover what's hidden in the unexplored parts of the world.
It's true, the river almost feels like another character. But here's what gets me, Marlowe. He starts talking about the Roman conquest of Britain, almost like he's drawing a line between then and now.
Oh, totally.
He even mentions a Roman trireme. Could you imagine? Sailing up the Thames. Times change, right?
But then again.
Some things never do.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He makes this point that the Thames itself, it used to be one of the dark places of the earth. Makes you think, huh? The heart of the British Empire, the place we think of is all civilized and historic. It had its own darkness once.
Right.
Conrad's hinting that darkness, it's not just some far-off thing. It's inside us, within every society.
Okay, so then we meet this company Marlowe ends up working for. They're in the Congo, all about progress, they say, but something feels off from the jump.
Oh, absolutely. They're secretive, that's for sure. And their actions, well, they speak louder than words, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then there's that whole thing with Friesleben.
The previous captain.
Right, supposedly a gentle guy,
Right.
but he ends up killing a local leader over, get this,
Oh, sure.
hens.
Hens. It's ridiculous, right? But that's what makes it so disturbing. This casual brutality, how easily things escalate when you've got all the power.
It's like Conrad saying, this isn't just about one bad guy, it's the whole system that's messed up. And remember, Marlowe's aunt, she's totally swallowed the company's whole pitch about saving the natives.
Oh, yeah.
Almost funny how naive she is. But then again, it shows how colonialism works, pretending to be the good guys.
Blind to what they're really doing. Or maybe they just don't want to see it. That's the real darkness, don't you think?
I think you're onto something.
And from there, Marlowe's journey, it's like going deeper and deeper into this weird, feverish dream. Conrad's descriptions of the heat, that thick jungle, always feeling like someone's watching.
It gets under your skin, that feeling.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then there are the people Marlowe meets along the way. The doctor, obsessed with measuring skulls.
We're trying to make sense of it all, but in such a cold, clinical way, as if these people were just specimens.
Exactly. And that guy running the central station, what did Marlowe call him?
The flappy devil.
Right. Desperate, kind of pathetic. And then, to top it off, there's that guy who hanged himself.
It's like the river itself is driving them all mad, pushing them to the edge.
It really is. And all this time, there's Kurtz, this name that keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Even before Marlowe meets him, Kurtz is everywhere. This huge question mark hanging over everything.
The anticipation builds with every mention, doesn't it?
For sure. He's like the main attraction, but nobody really knows what to expect. And let's not forget, he's the reason the company's swimming in ivory.
Which tells you something about his methods, right? It's not exactly a clean business.
Not at all. And remember that whole thing with the wrecked shed?
And the manager acting all weird about it, calling it incredible.
So strange, like he's hiding something. What do you think really went down there?
It's hard to say, but that conversation Marlowe overhears between the manager and his uncle, that's a big clue. Talking about Kurtz's influence and needing the right tool.
Intelligent men, they called them. Chilling.
Like they're talking about weapons, not people. Makes you wonder who the real savages are in this story, right?
It's a good question. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, Marlowe meets this young Russian trader, completely obsessed with Kurtz.
He's like a disciple, totally under Kurtz's spell.
Yeah. Says Kurtz enlarged his mind.
As if he's some kind of philosopher king. It's almost tragic, you know? The way this young guy is so blind to the reality of what's happening around him.
It really makes you think about the power of charisma, especially in a place like that.
Absolutely. And then there's that image, impossible to forget, those severed heads on stakes right outside Kurtz's place.
Brutal. Just
Yeah.
like that. You can't unsee it.
A stark reminder of the price of Kurtz's ambition. All that darkness lurking beneath the surface.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah.
And speaking of darkness, what about that painting Kurtz made? That woman with the torch blindfolded.
There's a duality there, right? Light
Yeah.
and darkness all mixed up. Like that's what Kurtz was wrestling with inside himself. Makes him a fascinating character, but terrifying too.
It's like we've been working up to this meeting the whole time, and finally, Marlowe, he comes face to face with Kurtz.
The myth.
Right. But instead of this powerful, larger-than-life figure, what does he find? A man who's practically gone to pieces. Physically, I mean. Broken?
You'd expect him to be invincible from the way people talk about him.
I know, right? But there's something else. He's still got this hold over the natives. Can't quite put my finger on it. It's more than just fear.
It's like he's become this, I don't know, almost mythical figure in their eyes, both godlike and terrifying.
Exactly. And those last words before he goes, the horror, the horror.
Haunts you, doesn't it? Like he's summing up everything he saw, everything he did. What do you think he meant by that, really?
It's like he's trying to warn us, but about what? The things we're capable of, the darkness that's out there, or maybe the darkness that's inside all of us.
That's what's so brilliant about Conrad, isn't it? He doesn't give us any easy answers, just leaves us with these big, uncomfortable questions about human nature, the things we do for power, the things that can twist even the best intentions.
And then there's Marlowe. He goes back home, but he's not the same. Not after everything he's seen. Even goes to see Kurtz's fiancée.
Carrying all that baggage, those letters, that haunting photograph, you almost wish he wouldn't.
It's like, what do you even say? How do you tell someone that the person they love, the person they've built up in their mind, wasn't who they thought?
And then he makes the decision to lie. Tells her Kurtz's last word was her name. A final love letter from the grave.
It breaks your heart in a way, for both of them. But it also makes you think, what would you do? Could you live with yourself if you shattered her image of him?
There are some truths that are just too heavy to carry, you know? And sometimes a lie can be a kind of mercy, even if it's a lie we tell ourselves. What makes Heart of Darkness so powerful is how it stays with you, even after you finish reading it.
It makes you see the world differently. The things we take for granted, the stories we tell ourselves about progress and civilization.
It's a reminder that the Heart of Darkness, it's not some far-off place. It's something we all carry within us. The potential for great love, but also for unimaginable cruelty.
And maybe, just maybe, by facing that darkness head-on, by really grappling with these uncomfortable truths, we can start to find a way forward. To build a world where the horrors that Conrad so vividly captured are never repeated. It's something to think about anyway. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop diving deeper into the stories that shape our world.